Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in, right? Okay. Random thought. I didn't plan this. I just had this random thought as I was getting ready, and I'm just gonna spit out a bunch of stuff, and then kind of let the comments take me wherever we're going, um, and it's concerning Black America, but it is a political question. Um, and well, I'll just shoot. Okay, can you really care about Black people if you don't know or care about what else is going on in the world, right? Can you truly care about Black America if you don't know or care to know what's going on outside of Black America, right? And these thoughts are I don't know. I was just randomly thinking about some stuff that I bring up occasionally or pretty often actually. Sometimes the burning of the textile mills in India, or America, when they were doing, and they probably still are doing, extraordinary rendition. And I was thinking about those kind of torture sites that they had in Chicago. Um, and I was like, well, if you don't know about extraordinary rendition and you don't fight against that, America doing that in your name, right? Not saying that they actually are doing it for the American citizens, but extraordinary rendition. By the way, for those of you that don't know, under the Geneva Convention, we're against torture. So the U.S. government also signed that, and they're against torture. So allegedly, um, what would happen is that they would just capture you or wherever. Let's say the U.S. government considers you a enemy combatant or whatever the terminology is. And if they captured you, they would bring you to a place where you can't be allegedly, before I have, you know, government officials crawling up my rear end. But if you don't care about that, then do you not see how allowing that to be something overseas, right? How that could then turn around and be something here back at home in the US? You know, if you care about drugs being sold to children, then do you not understand how America funding, Afghans to grow poppy seeds is a problem? Or US banks being caught money laundering with big drug cartels in South America and Central America? You don't see how that's a problem, right? And the link between the two, right? Do y'all see where I'm going with this now? You know, our elders, the civil rights generation, the generation that a lot of people like to poo-poo and wag their finger at, um, they understood these things, and much of the reason why they're not with us now or didn't live long lives is because of things, right? Right. I don't know how true it is, but this is why you have rumors of Malcolm Castro and Che Guevara supposedly going to, trying to plan something to bring the U.S. up on human rights charges at the United Nations. Now, yes, we know the biggest funder of the UN is the U.S., and we know the headquarter building of the United Nations is literally in New York. We understand. Yes, this is true, right? Even when we speak about Black women in the Black manosphere, right? And we were speaking about the 10 billion or so dollars that they're supposedly supposed to be receiving, right, from Goldman Sachs. Do we not understand how much crap Goldman Sachs is under right now for all different type of weaponizing financial instruments, laundering, extort, like everything? Like Goldman Sachs is up to their ears and eyeballs in, you know, and stuff right now. and ish right now, right? And so donating this money to black women, or supposedly for black women causes, is their way of showing, look, 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 we're not all that bad. Look, we got black women on the payroll and we're doing well by black women. Can you truly care about black people, black relationships, if you don't care about what's going on in other places around the country, let alone, around the world? Right? Or I could say that vice versa, right? Around the world, let alone around the country. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by not actually talking about these things, right? And actually trying to see how we can, we brought it up in the Black Manosphere some years ago when the Chinese official threw in one of Biden's officials' faces, BLM. Don't tell us anything about human rights violations. Y'all got BLM walking around here. And BLM is walking around here because y'all not doing right by black people. Right? Because this is how you weaponize a nation's internal politics against them. Right? And for black people, this is how you get just the few crumbs that you can get, is by shaming the US, is by not letting them play down slavery, is by not letting them play down Jim Crow. Right? Is by not letting them show, look, we got LeBron James and we have Jay-Z and we have Beyonce. Black people are doing all right in America. Nothing to see here. Right? So, these are things that put us in the position that we're in, and not using your history and all the tools at your disposal, history, the politics, the social environment, right? And I think this is where history majors come in. This is where political science majors come in, right? And I'm saying these are the people that, were history majors in college and graduated, and poli-sci majors in college and graduated, and preferably with high level degrees in these things. This is where they come in, so they can tell you when the time is right. Because the time is never necessarily right, but there are windows where you could take advantage of these things, where people are more amenable to hearing you and then actually doing something. Right? And so what I'm saying is either a lack of knowledge, ignorance, or a lack of perspective, or being myopic. All of these things work against black people. Or thinking that you could one-man army. No, there's windows. And if the environment is not right, then all your efforts would be a waste. Right? And I think I would argue that's what we have now, particularly in black YouTube, or a bunch of people speaking without fully appreciating the environment that we're in. I guess some of this is inspired by a conversation me and the brother DC, shout out to DC, right, and the Code Breakers, and paradox, right, that we were having about a certain brother that's adjacent to the space, but that is not Black Manosphere. Um, a conversation we were having, and I don't know if you can be a Black capitalist while also being pro-Black family, right, and pro-Black man, right, because you have to know how these systems exploit Black people and how they're designed to exploit marginalized people, including Black people in the US. And so maybe you're doing okay financially, and there will be 5, maybe 7, if you're lucky, 10% of Black people that will be doing okay. But then what you're arguing is for America to become more of a classist society and less of a racist society. You don't actually want to get rid of the oppressive systems. You want to rejigger them to be beneficial for you and your little circle of elite Black people. And we have already had Black people throughout human history who their biggest gripe with the US is that the US has Negrofied them. I'm not going to say the actually, N word with the hard ER, but that's the better word. Right? They don't actually have a problem with the oppressive systems. They have a problem where they fit into the oppressive systems. And you can make that argument when you hear, some of the Black women, the divestors. The divestors are the loudest about it. That's why I love them. They're like, they're like Joker in this type of thing, right? They're telling you straight up, like, my problem is that I'm not an upper middle class or rich white woman or elite white woman. That's my problem, right? And excuse my background. I know it's going to get choppy for a little while, so y'all bear with me for about another 30 to 40 seconds. Yeah, it's going to get a little choppy. I'm in an area that tends to be a dead zone. My apologies. I'm probably going to have to say everything I'm saying again now. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Another about 20 seconds, everybody, and then we'll go back to our commentary. By the way, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Let me say that again. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? Okay, I'm almost certain I have reached a clear area, maybe kind of, sort of. Why are you braking on the expressway for no reason? No card for because you looking at your phone on the expressway. Okay, we're back. Let me say that part again. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Okay, now, if you don't, I think what I'm saying is, and tying back to what I was saying about the strollers and divestors. If you don't understand how white women were weaponized and used as the softer hand of colonialization, and understand the systems that we live under now, do you not understand what many Black women are arguing for, right? Wanting to be that softer hand of colonialization. They're not actually arguing to get rid of the colonialization and that oppressive system. They want to be used as a tool in that system. They're tired of their low place in the pyramid scheme. They want a higher position in the pyramid scheme. They don't even see large enough to say, wait a minute, should we get rid of it? Should we fight to get rid of it? I mean, literally, I've heard, Chrissy make this argument where capitalism's not going anywhere. Patriarchy is not going anywhere. Right? So the question then becomes, are we dealing with a type of Negro in the 21st century? Not saying that we didn't deal with this Negro in the past, so I'm not making that argument. The argument is, are we dealing with a Negro in the 21st century that says, you know what, screw it. These systems are American as American pie. They're not going anywhere. Let me just find my little nice niche, my little nice spot, my little nice perch in this system. I'm not finding it. And I would argue that this may not be the realm for your um, everyday black person, right? Your layman, but the political class of black people. What are you doing? This is why I said a couple weeks ago, if not a week ago, you have a mandate as a black person. I don't. It's not. You didn't have to sign up for it. Once you become a black person of note, of any influence, of any power, you have a mandate to look out for black people, which means you also have a mandate to know what the hell you're talking about and do right by black people. Your politics need to align in a way that benefits the majority of black people. I know a lot of black people don't want to hear that. Oh, y'all don't want to hear that. You want to be hyper individualistic like the white people are. Not realizing they could only be hyper individualistic because they still have a strong home base. That part. Right. What does your individual money look like as a millionaire or billionaire when you or even your little small team aren't strong enough? And it's not that you're not strong enough because you lack the resources. It's that you're not strong enough because you lack one of the most important resources, the numbers. Right? See, we often listen to some of these people talk that tell you, yeah, I'm okay with a small circle. I just need a small circle of people like mine. And it sounds empowering. And it sounds good. That's a good rap lyric, right? That's what it sounds like. But wait, haven't we been dealing with that in Black America for some time now anyway? Right? Haven't we been dealing with, haven't we for the longest had small circles of influential white people, excuse me, influential black people that rub elbows with white folks? Haven't we had that? Really arguing since the plantation, really actually since the west coast of Africa. Haven't we had that for some time? Don't we want, maybe we need to expand that 10% to 20 to 25 at least, right? The question then becomes for black people, what is the project right now? Or do we feel like we, achieve civil rights and this is that we're done here? Now every individual Negro, you and whoever want to partner up with you, y'all go try to snatch as much money off the table as humanly possible and go duck off in the white suburbs and hope they don't come for you, right? And these are just random thoughts, right? I'm in my lefty bag. I'm in my right. I'm in my, but I that I would argue when you listen to so many of us speak, particular in the social media sphere, right? I don't know how great of an influencer I am, but these are questions that I want all of us to, even the black, but even the swirlers and divestors, even the brothers that say I'm going solo dolo. I'm the SYSBM brothers, the passport bros. These are real questions. Can you really be about even yourself truly? Can you properly be selfish if you don't really know what's going on or care to know? Right? I guess that's another argument I'm making. That's a real question. Can you even? I've said this before. Some of these people don't even know how to be selfish, right? Right? And thank you for the super sticker, T's Fitness for you. Thank you very much, brother. Right? Can you truly even be selfish, right, if you don't understand the environment? Can you even truly be about yourself if you don't understand the environment? This is a real question. Right? Because so many seem to think that they can be insanely selfish without understanding the environment, and they get their heads taken off by this same environment. right? I don't know if you could be so myopic in this society as a black. I don't know if black people can afford to be myopic. Black people as a group and black individuals. I don't know. I don't think you can be. You can afford to be myopic, right? Lacking historical context, lacking a geopolitical lens, lacking a social lens even outside of the black community. I would like to remind y'all that Mr. Z was, one of the people that came into the space telling y'all stop looking at Asians like they all that. They're not, right? And actually informing you of maybe some of the gender warring going on over there. They're just a whole lot quieter about it, right? And that some of these things that we think are going on aren't. That's why I stay, check my community tab. Yes, sometimes it's jovial. I'll put stuff about cars. I'll put stuff, funny memes, but also data, graphs, excerpts from books, right? Excerpt from some research. Links to mini docs or think pieces that tell us about what's going on in the world, in the country that we may not have known about, or it's a story that we may have missed. Right? Because even in this space, if you don't know enough, you're going to go out here and get your head taken off by one of these black women that is actually informed. Right? And if you don't know enough, you'll get into a conversation with a Ben Shapiro, not saying they'll be on his level, and get your head taken off in a debate about you and your own life. You will get into a debate with the Jordan Peterson, who's essentially telling you to respect the current hierarchy. That's why he's so obsessed with hierarchies. And what does it mean for a white man to tell you to respect the current hierarchy? Not in those words, but we all know that's what he means. That's what Mr. Z is saying. Right? You let these people talk it long enough, and they will start telling you your history is incidental. It's not that serious. It's not even really a footnote. It shouldn't even really be a footnote in overall American society or world history. BGS stealing my stuff. He said, "You rang," right? And I think maybe, maybe I went to sleep kind of thinking about some of the conversation me and BGS and DC were having last night. Maybe that's where this is coming from, because it was just a random thought that I woke up with, is us not appreciating macro, the macro, not us not appreciating world history, us not appreciating current, the current goings on in the world, and playing that down just a little too much, right? Right. And can you truly, and shout out to BGS. BGS, you missed my intro. I was saying, I don't know if you can truly advocate, and I see Sandog's in here. What's going on, Sandog? And Nama's in here, and these are people that have heard me speak for a while now. And my question to black people, including black people in the black manosphere, in particular, those of us in the black manosphere, clearly, this is where my channel lies, um, right? Or presides, I should say better. Can you truly advocate for black people, black men in this case, without an understanding of what's going on in the world or even in America? Can you be ill informed? Can you be ignorant? Can you be myopic and still advocate for black people or for black men and black boys? Right? Because I think a lot of this lacks historical context. And I think that's what allows us to over romanticize other people and other groups without understanding how they were placed. So it's very clear, sometimes we make the argument and we understand the model minority myth and why Asians were placed where they are. But do we even understand the Asians with money and the Asians without? And who the richest Asians are? By the way, check my community tab, right? It's Indians. And the rich Asians are usually the immigrant ones, right? So give me a second, you guys. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, y'all. Right? And I'm back. I'm back. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry about that. Actually, talk amongst yourselves. Yes, I'm in line to get some eat. All right, you guys. So fair warning. In a couple minutes, I might give this brother a jump start. I just told him that I couldn't because I had to be to work, which is not a lie. I actually am. I'm already running late. Um, but if I come around and nobody had given him a jump start, I will give him a jump start. But let me see. Let me let me see. So let's continue this conversation for as I'm in this drive-through line, and then if I come around the corner and he still needs a jump, then we'll do that. Okay. All right. So there we go. I'm not at Popeyes, y'all. I'm not at Popeyes. I'm somewhere where the food isn't actually that bad, right? We call it Subs Grill in South Florida. I don't think they have any locations outside of the Tri-County area in South Florida, right? So yeah, so I don't know if people in other places around the country wouldn't know about that, but they make their food fresh and they're not that bad and they're not that expensive also. So yeah. So back to the topic at hand. Can you talk about black people or advocate for black people or advocate for black women or advocate for black men without an understanding of these things, right? And how much your advocacy or lack thereof is linked to these things, inextricably linked, by the way. And how much the environment and timing and the political sphere and all of that matter. And all I just hear, and shout out to compassionate, callous and compassionate, but the brother, he has a little short in his in his on his channel, and it's with this brother, and you know the brother's a little sweet, but it says think bigger, B. Y'all think it's small, you need to think big. Right? And you know, and it's true. And it's true. If the goal is to vent, I get it. I was there once. If the goal is to vent about the women not getting down with men's program, black men's program, I get it. If the goal is to create a better environment, that way they be more willing to, then we need to, for those of us that care enough, we need to start moving in a different way. Maybe not completely in a different direction, but in a different way. Now, for those of you hardcore dudes, y'all want to change the entire environment and make them get down with men's program. And I don't know if we're in that time now. I don't know if we're ever going to be in that time in the foreseeable future, barring some type of catastrophe. Right? Barring some type of catastrophe, I don't know if we're ever going to be in that time. Again, in human history, particularly in the short term. This is why I listen to so much. This is why I listen to certain people, and when they say certain things, I call them out for it, or when they imply certain things. That's how I'm able to call out Kim Foster and FD Signifier, who are essentially saying, yeah, that nuclear, that 2.3 kids, wife, picket fence in the burbs, you know, yeah, maybe that ain't for you, black man. Now I say it in different words than they say it, so that I can let them know how, when it hits black men's ears, how black men are going to register that. Right? Because what you're telling black men is, oh yeah, that 2.3 kids and nuclear family and wife that you're married to for, you know, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 decades until one of you passes, that might not be for you. You get to be out here and be with the serially monogamous women at best, the sassy mean ones, the LGBTQ ones, right? Which now introduces you to the LGBTQ dudes. Have fun trying to distinguish man from women with the magical thing we call science. Right? Because this nuclear family that you're talking about comes from white patriarchy, and we're trying to tear down patriarchy, not white patriarchy, definitely not the elite whites. We're too cowardly to really go after them. But we will tell you that you can't have that toy. Oh, you want that toy? Oh no, that toy's too expensive. You can't have that. No, black man. Oh no. So go get your education, right? For those of us that's going to be entrepreneurs, go become an entrepreneur. Go employ as many other black people as humanly possible. For educators, go educate as many black people as humanly possible. All that so you don't get a nuclear family. So you don't get a wife. So you don't have to get to raise your children from your loins in a 2-parent household with a biologically born woman. Do all that so you don't get those things. But I only understand this because I watch their content. Right? And that's important. I understand that, but not only just because I watch their content, but because I see what's going on in the world and how we're going back to a world where heterosexual nuclear families, where we get to spread women, and I don't mean this in a pejorative way or minimizing women to just things, but there's a spread of women, right? What did Oprah say? You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. And we're moving into a world where women are huddling up with each other or huddling up around the elite men. And if they can't do neither, or if they're not interested in huddling up with women and they can't get the elite men, then they're encouraged to be content being single with their rose toy and living at home with their parents well into their late 30s, maybe even early 40s. Maybe forever. Because all of us have that relative, maybe not family member, but that relative, that 50 some odd year old aunt or uncle that's never left our parents' home. Never. Or excuse me, their parents' home. So our grandparents' home. And if it's not an aunt or uncle, we know a cousin. And sometimes these people are actually doing okay in life, financially. Right? And that's why I put down the things I put down. Because some of these people are essentially telling black men, yeah, you don't get that. You don't get to, and telling Americans, you don't get to buy your own home. You don't get to get married. You don't get to have children. Definitely not within wedlock. Definitely not your own. Right? And y'all give me a second. And we're back. Let's see if the guy is still there and if he needs a jump start. He is still there, and somebody's already jumping his car for him. Okay. Okay. All right. I mean, I get to go to work. Okay. All right. Yep. His truck is already started. I can hear it. Okay. He's good to go. All right. So we get to continue the conversation for a bit longer, right? And as I was saying, so I don't think, and I think that's the argument I'm making. I've listened to way too many people speak, and to me they lack historical context. I don't think that we could just one man army our way through this as individual black people, as individual black men, even as a community. Sometimes I think allies are important. I didn't say friends, but allies, right? And many of these people talk as if you don't need them, right? Yeah, I I'm careful with some of this conversation because I could feel myself getting a little riled up again about it. Shout out to BGS because and on a side note, for those of you that don't check out Art New Styles channel, it is really Switzerland of the Black, manosphere. Um, and shout out to the brother Art New Style, very knowledgeable brother, very even keel and chill brother, right? For those of you that's never, checked out Art New Style's channel, um, truly an artist, right? So there's a reason why his name is Art New Style. Um, and yeah, so on a side note, so Mr. Z was here to see, the ADOS FBA movement kind of, start to grow. And I think what I'm saying is to that, I got to see it get torpedoed also, right? And the actors that did that and the reasons that they gave. I was here for all of it, right? And yes, Mr. Z is not ADOS, but I am in a relationship with an ADOS woman, both mom and dad, mother and father. Um, and yes, I was invested in this conversation before the fact. I'm Black. I mean, And once again, like I've said before, my name, my actual government name, is not. It's not distinctive enough, right? It's a standard. It's a standard name, and there's nothing that distinguishes me. I don't have an Igbo or Yoruba last name, right? So there's not. My name does not, distinguish me from your average Black American ADOS FBA person, right? And I'm saying that to say what happens to Black people, ADOS FBA, happens to Mr. Z, right? I was born with the same jersey color, right? I was born with the same uniform color. So this is what it is. And so I was invested in the conversation because I found it fascinating, and because, quite frankly, I don't really think that I find it difficult to see a way where Black people, as a group, not individual Black people that have some extraordinary talent or have the insane discipline and can climb themselves out the muck by themselves, which is really not a thing, but okay. If we're talking about Black people as a group, I mean, I'm all for reparations for ADOS FBA, right? As just at least the start of Black Americans not being seen as the permanent underclass in America. And that got to start with ADOS FBA. It can't start from Black immigrants, right? So, but once again, understanding of history, right? And the political environment, and understanding the weight of your words. And much of this back and forth happened because somebody went out there gun-ho, said something, because they weren't being particularly politically savvy. They were on some "the enemy of my enemy is my friend" type thing. And when somebody tried to pull their coattails and say, I don't know about that, they got into their ego bag, and here we are. Right? Yeah. And here we are. If you don't understand the story I just told, those of us in the know the story I just told. I'm not going to go into any more detail because I already feel like I'm treading on thin ice. So I'll pause right there for that, But once again, can you and I'll rehash it. I'll say this again. I'm getting close to my destination. Can you truly be an advocate for black people, for black men, being part of the black manosphere without some understanding of history and politics and what's going on in the world, right? Without following news? Can you care about black people if you don't actually understand what's going on? Can you effectively advocate for black people or even for black men, for those of us in the black manosphere, without truly appreciating what's going on in the world, right? And how these things are linked. Drones overseas, drones in the US. Y'all remember they said they were never going to do the drone thing in the US? How long did that last? Electric agitator said no. A resounding no. Right? You can't not know about what's going on in the world and then, think you're just going to advocate for black people here at home with no and not even just out in the world, even in the US. Which political party is in office? Are they amenable to you? Can you get a seat with them? Does their political side of the aisle even believe in what you're talking about? Does this individual politician of note even believe in what you're talking about? Who are their cabinet members? Who's the weak link? Right? Because all of that matters. And thank you for the super sticker, the super chat, right? Electric agitator. Like I said, yeah, I was mentioning drones overseas, drones at home, right? We talk, shout out to BGS, but he mentions what's going on in the Ukraine. BGS prepared us how all of these dominoes could potentially fall, starting with this one. Then you got a rise in grain prices. That means you get a rise in food prices. That means you get a rise in, you get a rise in gas prices because you get a rise in the prices of other different resources. And there you go. Because everybody's scrambling because of one war in Europe. One war in Europe affects Americans, black Americans, here at home. Right. Along with the fact that these people were starting to essentially do austerity measures. They don't want to call it austerity measures in America. We don't call it that in America when it's happening in America, but that's what it is. Right? Austerity measures. And I've reached my destination, everybody. Y'all like, share, subscribe. About to do my outro. Let's read I don't know what's going on with me. Electric agitator. I'm sorry, brother. And let's read this comment. He says, history will repeat or rhyme. I have to say, I am not perfect. The people who put their cape on for the girl needs to be shamed by men. Hey, yes. And as I said this last night, I think I'm pretty much done speaking about that, but I don't know. Let's see where this goes. I think those of us that we saw what we needed to see and we heard from certain people and how they advocated, and that should let us know where certain people stand. I'll say that. Um, and what that means for a political project um, concerning black men in the black manosphere. We'll say that, Electric. Right? We'll say that. Right? And on that note, I'm going to close it out. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I will pause right here. Right? Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, please, so we can have a better worldview. Right? Now I'm about to go check out this old video that I should have checked out a long time ago about the Soviet Union's economy, right? Eclectic, my bad, Eclectic. Right. So on that note, all right, everybody, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out. Right. And go check out other non-Manosphere content. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of y'all day.